Hey everybody, hey, this is Isaac. It's been about 3 months since my last video. I said I was gonna make one in about a week or so when I got done with the last video, but then life got away from me. So I've been pretty busy over the last 3 months, and several things that I said I was going to do, I've done, and there's several things that I've done that I didn't mention in my last video. So I'm going to cover a few things, just to kind of resync myself with the universe. Put my intentions out there and just kind of explain so that one, say it out loud so that everyone hears it and I hear it myself, right? Because sometimes I think about things until I say it out loud, put it out in the universe. It really doesn't resonate. So that's kind of the purpose of this video, is for me to say things. And if someone else picks up on it and it's beneficial, then great. If not, then I can go back and replay this and hopefully have some use myself. So what have I been up to? Well, I completed my final big project for work for the Army. The last requirement that was levied upon me, and that I owed the Army, was to plan for a large exercise next summer at Fort Hood. I won't be in the Army for this exercise, but I had a planning role in it. We had a shortage of people, and the person who was designated to plan it, he was out. So I jumped in, took on that project, and led that planning effort for about a month or so until that planner came back. And then I also participated in a large exercise in Washington State for 3 weeks. And now that large exercise is over and the planning effort that I led is over as well, then those things are done, and so am I, right? Those are the last things that I owed the Army, and now I can focus on my transition. So what have I been up to for the retirement preparation, right? A lot of things that I said I was going to do that I still need to do. So first off, I have retirement orders from Human Resources Command. It took about 3 weeks to get, super fast. I got an email notification saying, hey, your retirement's been approved, stand by for your orders. And that took about another week. So it was a pretty fast turnaround. 3 weeks, orders in hand. Pretty excited. So second, I submitted and was approved through my chain of command for participation in the Hiring Our Heroes Corporate Fellowship and the Salesforce Fellowship. So with Hiring Our Heroes, you can participate in two separate ones. You don't have to pick. You can participate in a Skill Bridge and a Hiring Our Heroes. And all that really means is you're participating in the window, right? Like, so you've got approval. You can compete for both. You can interview during both. But at some point during the interview process, okay, you have to make a decision. You have to say, okay, I want to go with this fellowship and this company, or I like this other fellowship better, and there's this other company in this fellowship, right? So there's different routes, but both of the ones that I'm competing with are through Hiring Our Heroes. It's just one is corporate and one is Salesforce. So if you don't know what Salesforce is, you can do a quick Google search, but basically the appeal to that was you had to get a certification. That's the only way you can participate in the corporate fellowship. Anyone can really apply, I think. So there's two different requirements there. So third thing, with those fellowship, I've been doing my resumes. And I say resumes because I have multiple different copies, multiple different versions. And I've had so much help with my resume that I'm at the point now where the feedback that I'm getting is happy to glad type improvements. I mean, it's good feedback, but it's really not necessarily content related. It's just, hey, maybe you should change the font. Hey, maybe you should move this. So once you get to the point where you've got happy to glad type of improvements, I think it's all subjective anyway. So I'm marching on with what I got, and I will of course tweak based on job postings. I think, but I have a good starting point. So get feedback on your resumes, send it out there to people that's their job. That's what they do every day, is they look at resumes and take their feedback. I mean, it's a Word document, right? It's a living document. So don't just make the first one or two and be like, all right, this is it, I've got it, right? Because your resume is constantly evolving. All right, fourth. I met with the Veteran Services Office at the VA. I think I'm going with the American Legion. American Legion has a VSO office, and the guy who works in there, who kind of files the disability claims and processes those to the VA, kind of the advocate for you. He came highly recommended, and a lot of folks have gone with him. I sat down and talked with him, met in his office for about 30 minutes. He gave me a little printout checklist, because everyone's got checklists. Everyone's got, hey, follow this simple steps, and I'll get you what you need. I kind of talked about that on my last video. But I've got that hanging on my refrigerator right now, and I'm kind of going through all those things. So I'm going to meet with him again in January. And when I do, I'll bring him my medical records that I will request next month. So I'll request the medical records in November, hopefully get them in December, meet with him in January, and then that'll be 6 months out. I can go ahead and file my disability claim. Fifth, what have I been doing? I ordered the platinum package of suits from Salute to Suit. The last video that I made, I talked about Salute to Suit. Google them. They're pretty cool. I was kind of iffy about them at first, but then I got the first suit in the mail, and I did a consultation with the guy that owns the company, and we video chatted. He took a look at the suit and how it fitted. I told him my concerns. He's going to make some adjustments, and then in about a week or so after the tailoring is done, I expect the rest of the pants, jackets, shirts, suits, ties, socks, all the things that come in that package to arrive in the mail next week. Sixth, I met with the ACS, Army Community Service Financial Counselor. I wanted to go over my finances, my goals, just sit down with someone to kind of talk those. I don't have a civilian financial advisor, and I realize I probably should, but I figured, hey, I'm going to go sit down and talk to the ACS counselor. It's something they recommended at TAP. And personally, I do not recommend wasting your time unless you really need a lot of help with your finances. But if you're at the point where you're getting ready to retire from the military and you don't have a decent handle on your finances, kind of know what you're doing, what your long-term goals are, how you're going to get there. By the end of the meeting, I mean, he was taking notes and asking me questions about how I approached some of my investments. So, long story short, find a civilian financial advisor. I haven't done it yet. After I left him, I was kind of disenfranchised and figured I was doing okay. But I need to sit down with someone. So if you got if anybody out there has a recommendation on a civilian financial advisor that they trust, because that's the biggest thing for me is, how do I know these folks, actually know what they're doing? But let me know. Seventh, I continue to see the doctor about what ails me and things that I need taken care of before I retire. In my first video, I spoke about life insurance. I started 2 policies at the same time, 2 policy applications, and one came back very quickly. It was approved. I signed it. I started making the monthly payments, and I have civilian life insurance now. The second one, they wanted a little bit more. They asked for medical records. They wanted to go back and forth with me, and the process was a little bit slower. But I started that insurance application and preparing for my VA claim, meaning I started going to the doctor about all the things that ailed me. I did those things about the same time, and luckily the first one kind of worked out and I signed it. But this second one, as the underwriter requests medical records, she'll see things that I've claimed in the past couple of weeks. And then she'll say, I need to see more because you claimed this. And then she'll go back and then she'll see something else that I just claimed, right? So I'm one step ahead of that application. So that means when it's all said and done, I'm fairly certain it's going to be denied. And if it's not, I'm going to have an obscene rate, I'm sure. But, I want to see how it plays out. So I'm going to let the underwriter keep working. And then if they decide to deny it, then I've already got the insurance that I need anyway. Number 8. Eighth thing I've done is I started sitting through all of the TAP seminars a second time. I've scheduled for the last 3 months, or for the next 3 months, I should say, to sit through all the TAP seminars. I sat through 2 in the past 2 months. They're only about 2 or 3 days apiece. I think one's a week long. And the good news is I'm bored. I'm bored sitting through them. And what that really tells me is that I'm prepared. I've heard everything. I'm already tracking everything that they're talking about. There's a couple of good nuggets of information that I pick up. I'm like, oh, I didn't hear that the first time. Or maybe that's new. And, because there's so many checklists and so many websites. But you can do TAP as many times as you want. So I'd say do it once when you're 2 years out. But then do it again when you're 6 months out, right? If you can get away from work for a couple of days just to sit through one of those seminars, do it. See if you're bored, and if you're not bored, then it's a good thing you went. All right, ninth. The ninth thing that I've been doing is completed my civilian certifications. I say completed as I'm still working on them. I want to make myself marketable. in the civilian world. I've come up with a resume that's pretty solid. I've tried to translate most of my military training into civilian verbiage so that everyone understands, what I did, what I've done. But professional certifications, civilian certifications, I think are very important. So I just recently completed the Salesforce Business Analyst certification, which gave me a lot of tools for translating my military intelligence skills into maybe business analysis or business intelligence type of work. And I've shared those on LinkedIn, obviously, which has helped me grow my network. I'm also working right now to complete my Google Data Analytics certificate. Google offers several programs for veterans or military that are getting ready to transition. So the data analytics, I think, fit nicely with military intelligence. So I should complete that in the next week or two. The 10th and final thing that I've done is continue to network. And I always feel like I'm very behind, but I've increased my LinkedIn network by about 200 connections since the last video that I made 3 months ago. So I'm now at 500 connections. I've participated in Veterati. The Veterati is a mentorship program. Prior service members who have transitioned, and now they mentor service members who are getting ready to transition. So I have a couple of mentors now. One's a prior commissioned officer, one's a first sergeant. One is now a civilian executive, and she got out of the Army after 4 years, and she was a Sergeant E5. But now they're all mentors that I've met through Veterati. They've helped me grow my network, and they've given me some great information. I also participated in Canderful. Canderful is a great program. It's free, and it allowed me to do 3 virtual interviews with business executives. 2 of those executives were senior Amazon executives. And what they want to do, they volunteer their time to help you as a service member who's transitioning prepare for job interviews. So I got some great feedback. I was able to add them to my LinkedIn network, which helped me grow my network. But more importantly, it made those connections, and those got me some good feedback. And actually I got kind of a job offer from one of the executives. I mean, she said she would hire me if I was interviewing with her for a job in her portfolio. So that leads me to believe, like, if I pick a job in her portfolio, that maybe she'll hire me. So I'm going to keep that in my back pocket. But it's good to make connections. So real quick on the checklists. So here we are. I am at 11 months now. So the 6 to 12 month checklist. At 11 months, the one big thing that I still need to do is schedule my retirement physical. I actually, good thing I wanted to make this video, but because I looked at this checklist as I was preparing for this video, and I was like, man, I really should have done this already. So I'm going to try to schedule this and get in to see the doc for my military physical in January, that's 6 months out. Several other things that I've already done on here, like finish buying my wardrobe that I talked about from Salute to Suit. I'm actively job searching now. If you go down to the 6 to 1 month mark, there's only a couple things left that I need to actually, mark off there, and I'm well on glide path to finish those. One thing that I need to do is schedule a time with JAG for my power of attorney and wills. My wife and I have been talking about it. It's one of those things that's really difficult thing to talk about sometimes with, who's going to do what and what the intent is if something bad were to happen. So one of those things I want to put off, but I know I should not. So, and then the final retirement checklist, right? These 2, the retirement month and then afterwards, those are yet to come. Nothing something I really have to worry about. One thing that I want to point everybody's attention to is household goods. It used to be that you had to coordinate with transportation. I think it was on the previous list for household goods shipment. But now on my orders, it says you have up to 3 years to coordinate with transportation. So you don't have to physically go to transportation anymore, because your retirement orders will say you were authorized to ship your final shipment up to 3 years after your retirement date. And it's on your orders. And if you decide that you don't want to do it after 3 years, you can go to transportation and get that extension in writing for a year. And you can do that 3 times, I think. So basically, you can still ship your household goods to another location up to 6 years after you retire. Just takes a little bit of coordination. So what's coming up next? My wife is visiting her family right now with our two youngest children. She just needed to get out of the house, and I had some work I had to get done, and my oldest is working, so I didn't go. But she's actually looking at an 80-acre piece of property while she's out there. So we'll see how that goes, because we definitely want to find our little piece of the country and disappear from the urban environment that we've been in for the last 20 some years. In the next couple of weeks, I hopefully will be matched with a corporate partner for a fellowship with the goal of that turning into a full-time job. So hopefully I'll have a fellowship lined up for the first couple of months of 2023. And then as I transition from the military, I can ease on into a civilian job. In a month or so, I'll probably make another video, and hopefully someone gets some use out of it. And if not, I've kind of reframed my goals, where I'm at in life, and what I'm doing to the universe, right? I've said it out loud. Now I know what I'm doing. So until I make another video, if anyone's got any feedback for me, I'll gladly take it. And until then, good luck on all your endeavors.